This area in particular is very supportive of the arts. There are a lot of artists within a block or two of where you're standing right now. So that means when I have a problem with the business, or I have questions, or I need a little support, or just a little sense of community, there's somebody here who can help out, which is really pretty amazing. We've been here for about 6 years, and it's been great. I really enjoy it. Once I'd taken the first class, I pretty much knew that I wanted to be a glass blower, and I also realized that I didn't want to teach, and I did not want to be working for another production studio, because it's a lot of work, and it was something that I wanted to do for myself and not for somebody else's business. So I came through school and worked for a few years to get experience actually at an amusement park blowing glass during the summer, and then during that time I was building equipment and getting everything set, and just took off from there. So. Glass blowing has been around since about 3000 BC, give or take a few hundred years, and it's something that developed. The general theory is it came out of other metalworking, because glass is a byproduct of iron melt. So it's developed, through Europe for a very, very long time. Glass blowing as an art form in the U.S. came about in about the 1960s. Started to move into colleges. Dominic Labino took it from a factory product, from a production factory product, into the size of equipment that an individual artist could use. So it's got about a 50-year history in the country as a small studio art medium. The furnace that I'm using is an electric furnace that melts at about 2,200 degrees, and the glass that goes in as a product called batch, which is all of the raw materials. It's basically sand, soda ash, and lime, and it's not a glass yet because it hasn't been melted into a glass. So we put that in every night, turn the furnace up, and it takes about 8 hours for that to melt down into the glass. So that's all inside a big ceramic crucible down inside this electric furnace. And then that glass is gathered out the next day on a stainless steel rod, and you either use a hollow rod, which is a blowpipe, or else you use a solid rod, depending on what you're making. And then we shape that glass either using steel tools or wood molds or wet newspaper, again depending on what you're making. And once that glass is shaped, it goes into an annealing oven to cool off, and that oven is about 940 degrees, and it takes 8 hours again to cool it back down. So while glass is a fairly immediate product, you can have an idea and have something made very quickly. It still takes a long time to cool off before you can actually look at it. So anything I make today, you don't get to see until tomorrow. So. The furnace I'm using now is actually a commercial built furnace, but my first furnace was one that I literally built in the backyard. So, and everything else back there is home built except for one of the annealing kilns. And that's pretty typical of a glass studio. The equipment that's available commercially is very expensive and tends not to fit what you're doing. The equipment I have is very specifically built for the type of work that I do, and the size of work, and the type of numbers that I do. So that's normal for a glass shop to build everything. Glass is a really flexible medium, so anything you can see, any texture, any movement, you can pretty much duplicate in glass. And a lot of what I do is based on aquatic things. I like starfish and seahorses and jellyfish. I'm sort of obsessed with tide pool kind of imagery at the moment. But we can do the full gamut from functional tableware to just fantasy pieces. We've done the chandeliers for Union Church. That was a big project. We're getting actually ready to do some more chandeliers for them. We've done people's weddings where we've done all of the favors, the table favors, things like that. Like I said before, Berea is very supportive of the arts. There's a great sense of community here, and it's also very centrally located in the U.S. That 65% of the country's population is within a 7-hour drive of here. So for somebody trying to make a living as a wholesale craft artist, which is what I'm doing, I can ship cheaply and reach those markets very easily from here. Plus Berea has a 120-year history, reputation of being a craft community, so when I say I'm from Berea, it automatically gives me some credence. So it's a great place to be. It has a couple of functions. Being part of the Studio Art Tour, we get a lot of groups in, we get a lot of school groups in, so I have a chance to really let kids see a process that's fairly unusual. Glass blowing's not something that most people are familiar with, so we get a chance to kind of show that off. And the sort of glassware I do, even though it's not mechanical, like a factory would be, it's the same process that they would use. So, we have scout groups, we have schools come in, just everybody. They get pretty excited about it. And if I can keep their attention for more than 30 seconds on something, I feel like I've succeeded. And they'll sit there and watch piece after piece. And I've had kids come back, they're on their 3rd and 4th year that they come through every vacation, and I'll look out and I'll see them explaining to their parents or explaining to who they're with the process, and they'll get it right, and that's a really cool thing to see. So even if you don't think they're paying attention, they actually are listening to what's going on. Because of Berea's location on the interstate, we get seasonal traffic, so depending on what month it is, I get a different part of the country coming through. I can almost tell you what month it is by whether it's Minnesota or Wisconsin or Chicago coming through. So we get a full range of, Berea attracts a wide variety of people. It's something that I really enjoy doing. The attraction for an artist to glass is the fact that you will never stop learning new tricks with it. Every day that I come in, there's a new challenge or a new problem to be solved or just a new technique to learn. Even if it's something that I've been making for a long time, I can still learn and improve on it. So it's very challenging, and also as far as art goes, it's a physically challenging thing. So it's not sedentary, and that's also interesting. It's a good way to, keep things alive.